While the 1990s animated series somewhat downplayed Jean's abilities and powers, the truth is she has always been one of the strongest X-Men and mutants in the comics. She became even stronger when the mental blocks Professor Xavier put in place were removed, and later when the Phoenix Force merged with her. Her connection to the Phoenix Force has also managed to stay with her, continuing to increase her power levels throughout her time in the comics. She has become so skilled that she has grown to be more than just an Omega level telepath and telekinetic, uncovering even more powers and abilities within herself throughout her development. Today we'll be taking a look at some of these abilities as we count down the top 10 superpowers you didn't know Jean Grey had. So join me as we explore one of the most overpowered characters in the comics. And be sure to stick around till the end of this list where I will have some bonus content coming your way. Alright, let's get counting. Number 10. Cloaking. Jean's powerful telepathic abilities allow her to sense almost any entity that could be in her vicinity. She's even been able to sense a Watcher before, although I don't think she knew quite what it was, cause, you know, she couldn't see it. She can also use her telepathic senses to hide herself or others from being seen or found, both physically and visually. Using telepathy, she could make you appear invisible to others when you weren't. She could even change your appearance in somebody else's mind. In fact, her level of power means she could use this power to cloak multiple people and herself all at once if she so chose. Number 9. Flight. Sometimes people forget just how skilled of a telekinetic Jean really is, likely because we were too busy having our minds blown by her powers, capacities, and the Phoenix and her just telepathic achievements. And yet, while her telekinesis skills might not seem as great when compared with her telepathy, they are still pretty awesome. Even before she became superpowered by the Phoenix Force, Jean could utilize her telekinetic skills to make herself fly. Though admittedly as the Phoenix, she can not only fly, but can additionally fly faster than the speed of light. And also as the Phoenix, she did seem to forget sometimes that she could have even flown before, which is kind of weird. She's like, oh my gosh, I can fly, and I was like, you could fly before, girl, what you freaking out about? Calm down. So while not as fancy as some of her other powers, even this one gets a pretty insane upgrade from her merging with the Phoenix Force. Number 8. Pyrokinesis. It's understandable that with Jean comes fire. After all, her comic book foil is Emma Frost, who, while also a telepath, ends up often being associated with cold and ice, sporting her blue lipstick. If she is cold, Jean is fiery hot. This idea of Jean and fire transcends symbolism when it comes to her abilities to conjure fire through her connection to the Phoenix Force. The Force itself allows those it merges with to conjure a cosmic raging fire almost anywhere, including underwater and even in the vacuum of space. It's also really weird that Emma Frost and Jean Grey are actually referred to as like fire and ice and that type of stuff when they don't have any elemental abilities naturally. Weird, they're both just telepaths, but it's fine. Number 7. Psychic Siphoning. One of Jean's abilities allows her to siphon psychic energy and use it to power herself. We see young future Jean do so in the comic Generations Jean Grey / Phoenix, when she and the Phoenix version of Jean are taking on Galactus. As Galactus tries to feed on the Phoenix's energy force, young Jean uses psychic energy from all around her, even siphoning energy from Galactus himself, to power herself up in order to deliver a powerful punch right to Galactus' face, successfully knocking him down as a result. As the Phoenix, we have seen this power in Jean evolve, allowing her to absorb the energy of entire stars, like when she ended the Dabari race and their planet during her time as Dark Phoenix. Okay, so I know that wasn't really Jean because retcons, but I'm still counting it because it's just so iconic. So let me have it, guys, let me have it. There are some retcons that are best ignored, and I feel like that's probably not one of them actually, but I feel like it's such a good moment you should ignore part of it at least. Number 6. Molecular matter transmutation. Jean has the ability to transmute matter on a subatomic level. What does this mean? It means, well, that she could kill you in an instant, simply dissipating all your molecules. Ugh. Sounds painful. Or she could transform gold bars into a crown, and swords into a throne. Cause you know, if Jean were a character in Game of Thrones, she could just make her own throne and just demand everybody's surrender. Cause she's just that OP and that much of a queen. Am I right? All hail the Black Queen? Shouldn't be glorifying the fact that the Hellfire tortured her. Hellfire Club is bad. Number 5. Illusion Creation. Mastermind may have used his illusionary powers to control Jean and transform her into the Hellfire Club's Black Queen, but when it comes to illusions, Jean herself also has some tricks up her sleeve. Or up her mind. She is able to create illusions by using telepathy. She can use her telepathy to affect the way you see her in your mind's eye, or to affect simply what you see or think you are experiencing just in general. Her telepathic and illusionary powers are so strong, she once even successfully used them into manipulating Magneto into thinking that he had killed Dazzler when he hadn't. Oh, and he also appeared to be wearing his helmet while this all went down, so that's pretty crazy. Number 4. Telekinetic weapons. During her self-titled series Jean Grey, we see Jean use her telekinesis skills in a way that she hadn't previously. With a little bit of guidance from Psylocke, she has now figured out how to construct her own psionic weapons. So cool! The thing that makes this interesting for Jean is that she doesn't really have the fighting know-how of her fellow mutant Psylocke, so she often has to get a little creative when it comes to which weapons she wants to choose to create. However, we later see her skill with psionic weapon creation develop, as although she isn't a fighter, as a skilled telekinetic she can create any psionic construct that she chooses, using any weapons she makes to inflict physical or mental damage, or she can even do both with them. What? Yeah, psionic weapons. They're cool. Not just Psylocke can use psionic weapons. Surprise, surprise. Number 3. Raised dead. To many, Jean has at this point become immortal in the comics, / impossible to kill, due to her many resurrections. But while many comic book characters find it hard to stay dead, Jean herself has actually become unique even when it comes to this commonplace comic trope. The Phoenix Force has chosen to resurrect her before and saved her life more than once, it's true. But she has also on occasion managed to force the Phoenix Force to resurrect her by herself. Beyond that, she has also been resurrected without its help. What powerful force has made this come to pass other than the Phoenix Force? Why, Jean Grey herself, of course! That's right, after poison killed her and then again during End Song, she brought herself back to life. Just alone. She didn't even need the Phoenix Force. Crazy. Number 2. Concussive energy blasts. Similarly to her longtime lover Scott Summers, but slightly differently, Jean can use her telekinesis to create a concussive energy blast. These can be used to cause great damage to her enemies or her surroundings. While she has also used this power in the comics, you can see Jean use this power in film adaptations too, like in The Dark Phoenix when she loses control and causes some pretty big messes with it, and honestly kinda overuses it a little bit. I think we can all agree. A little bit. You have telekinesis, I get it. Number 1. Empathy. You might have thought the list of empaths in the world of Marvel was, well, a relatively short one. And while I would agree with you somewhat, I would also remind you that empaths have a tendency to show up in places that you initially just forgot to look. Jean is truly a character who distracts us with her destructive and mind-bending powers, and as such it can be easy to forget her more nuanced skills. Among them is her ability to use her telepathy as an empath. Not only can she sense what you are thinking and feeling, but she can also change and affect it too. Similar to the MCU's version of Mantis, but more terrifying, as Jean could likely easily use this power on a global scale, just like that. You know what I mean? Not like an Infinity Gauntlet, just FYI. Not every time we snap we're talking about that. In X-Men Red, issue number 11, we see Jean use her empathic powers to change her enemy's allegiance, turning them from villain to ally by imbuing them with the feeling of empathy. And not just in the moment either, but the long term, creating in them a long-term everlasting change to the way they feel and think in certain situations within their psyche. Pretty crazy. She's like rewriting people. She's like, now you feel this way about these things. No problem. Thank you so much for watching, Nerd Squad. I hope you found this list informative and that you aren't too scared of Jean Grey's awesome powers. She really does try to keep good control of them, but also you definitely would not want to cause her to lose control or give her a reason to, cause you harm, because she could definitely do that. So many different ways. What are some of your favorite Jean Grey moments? What is your favorite power of hers? Is there a power that Jean has yet to exhibit that you think she really should have? Let us know in the comments below. And speaking of comments, it's time to turn to some comments from one of our latest videos, Top 10 Superheroes Who Lost to Superman. Jack comments, I'd love to discuss with you, Amanda, in what world are Superman and Goku evenly matched anymore? I mean, okay, so if we're talking original Superman before the 80s, I believe that he definitely could defeat pretty much almost any version of Goku, just if we're talking about like Superman beating Goku. That guy could conjure up pretty much any superpower he needed at the time that he needed it. He was insane, but hey, I'm just here to report. A lot of people watch and respect Death Battle, so I thought it would be fun to take from them and have something a little fun, a little controversial, and a little non-canon, but well thought out on here. So you'll have to take that one up with Rooster Teeth, not me. One Wheel Production says the old Superman from like before the 80s also beat the Hulk by just standing there until the Hulk got tired. I believe that. Original Superman was so overpowered. That's pretty much why he was retconned and given a weakness to magic. Can't have him running rampant, just crushing everyone he comes across. Not much to read otherwise. Be short-lived battles. And that's all we have time for today. Be sure to comment below for a chance to have your thoughts featured in a future list. This has been Top 10 Nerd and I'm your host Amanda McKnight. You stay nerdy, YouTube. Alright, let's talk about Jean Grey.
Do it.
Alright, let's get counting. I said that with a different inflection today. They are still... Oh, I couldn't read it, I was just going from my brain and what I remembered writing, so... Even this one gets a pretty insane upgrade from merging... merging. Pyrokinesis. Of course, only even more powered up when she, wait, what? How do you even power that up even more? I'm just gonna ignore that last part. Or she could transform gold boars. Someone find me some gold boars. Or she could transform gold bars in a or she could transform gold bar. I don't think she's human anymore. I think she's mostly psychic energy at this point. She's like 1% human, 99% psychic energy. She's blasting everything. I get it. You have telekinesis. I get it.